Hello and welcome to Edison TV. Now, very recently, you will have been aware that KEFI Gold and Copper appointed BCM as its preferred mining contractor for its Tulu Kapi project in Ethiopia. It's also contributing $23 million to pre-production costs. Joining me now from the company itself is its founder and executive chairman, Harry Anagnostaras-Adams. Harry, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Tell us all about the announcement.
Well, it's essentially doing several things at once. One is, as part of the wrapping up of the plans and the costings for the launch of the project, we've obviously had to check the mining costs and bring them right up to date, mining being the largest single expense item for the operation. And in doing so, we were able to improve on our costings and on some of the tender conditions by appointing a new contractor. So that was achievement number one. And at the same time, this particular contractor, BCM, who happens to be one of the, if you like, the first movers into Africa from Australia 30 years ago, bringing sort of modern open pit mining and so on to Africa back then, basically, we stumbled into the fact that they were very keen to be involved with an ownership stake, albeit a minority ownership stake, but an ownership stake in the companies that they worked for. And this was quite neat for us. It was like an added bonus in a sense, in that it basically filled a gap that we were trying to optimize as to how to fill it in the equity side of things. So the bottom line is that a few months ago, we felt that we had got the debt side of the financing completely under control, having got the community and government who were sort of working in tandem with us. And now we've got the equity side of it under control as we're heading for closing in a couple of months' time and launch of the major construction works. So the importance of the announcement is that it really is helping to sort of seal all the preparations for the launch of a major gold mine, one of Africa's sort of best 2 or 3 gold mines, if I may say, gold projects. For development in Ethiopia, a country that's very much taking off. So very important to us, and very, very confidence-giving, if you like, to all the stakeholders that we've now sorted out the equity side of things, really, in terms of all the development capital.
So just to be clear on the financing, from, as I recall, it's $320 million in total, and that is now 100% sorted?
More or less. And what I mean by that is that the final certifications or costings, including some fixed price lump sum components, need to be hot off the press in order to sign them off. And there may be some movement. And if there's some movement, we need to sort that out, obviously. But we don't expect anything significant. But subject to that, we're sort of, not far off 100% there. We're up in the high 90%, so we'll sort out the rest later when we know the final numbers.
And in terms of timing, by the end of June?
Yeah, we have, here we are, let's say the end of April, and we have 2 months work really on documentation, on final pricing, on community, on security, and things like that. Some formalities from the government that are still outstanding that are expected shortly. And then we will be able to kick off, the drawdowns and construction from July onwards.
And then can you tell investors what they may look for in terms of milestones? Just what are your announcements up to that point at the end of June, where you say, right, full project launch, or is it nothing until full project launch, or may they expect, certain milestones along the way?
There will be some milestones along the way. There are some financing milestones in the sense that the local investors, institutional and high net worth officers, are going through their formalities. That's part of the package. We'll announce that as it comes through as well. We'll also announce any, formal approvals that come through on the financing. As I say, we felt a few months ago that the debt was under control, but there are some formalities left. For instance, there's a thing called parliamentary ratification of one of the banks required, and that is, I'm well aware, in process inside Parliament as we speak. So we'll be announcing those things, but how would I put it, from the point of view of a judgment call as to whether we're there or thereabouts, we are there, but we do need to dot the I's and cross the T's and, cross these formal approval bridges, such as parliamentary approval. And we'll be announcing those so that shareholders can track the progress. It's a complex project. We're signing the best part of $1 billion worth of contracting covering CapEx and OpEx amongst more than a dozen parties. So obviously there's lots of dotting I's and crossing T's going on by 12 sets of lawyers, but that's why it takes so long and it's complex. But it feels quite under control now in that we've now cobbled together the debt, and we feel now pretty well back in the back of the equity.
But to all intents and purposes, from now to the end of June, it's a matter of formalities rather than anything structural.
Yeah, no more structural stuff. It's tidy, how to put it, tying it all up together and signing it all off to launch it. There's a whole bunch of fees and commitments that will have to be signed off, but I think we're in the implementation of a very clear plan now.
And then, so if we say full project launch end of June, are we still looking at construction for the rest of 25, 26, first gold, then 26, beginning of 27?
Yeah, what we'll be doing is drawdowns and full launch in July, obviously. And then we've got about 18 months work before you can start commissioning. And there'll be dribs and drabs of production coming through, but full production at the end of 2 years.
And so if we could say that would be the middle of 27 for full production with ramp up from end of 26 to the middle of 27. That would be a reasonable timeline.
Yes.
One of the aspects of the deal with BCM that you alluded to in the announcement was the fact that there's now no pressure on KEFI to sell its Saudi interests. It has that 15% stake in G&M. So just talk us through, does that mean you're stopping negotiations to sell it? You're still putting out feelers to see what bids would be there? What's the status?
Well, there's no pressure to make a decision in the short term. That's the key thing. But it doesn't change the fact that our priority lies in Ethiopia, and the pressure's off, if you like, having to deal in Saudi Arabia. But the overall strategic priority is to back, proceed with, and deliver on our majority-controlled projects, majority-owned projects in Ethiopia. So it doesn't change the strategic direction we're taking him, but it simply changes the pressure for execution so that we get, the best possible outcomes for all concerned.
So if I could summarize it, it's Saudi Arabia still could be on the table, but it would be on a willing buyer, willing seller basis. There's no sense that this would be done, any deal would ever be done at a fire sale price.
That's a fair summary there, Charlie.
Very noticeable that your share price was up yesterday when most of the rest of the gold market was following the gold price down. So it seems like the market is beginning to get the sort of significance of the road that KEFI is traveling at the moment. I'll let you exercise quite a bit of license here, but full production middle of 27. Where would you like KEFI to be in, say, 3, 4 years' time?
Well, I was sitting this afternoon with one of my old stockbroking friends in Sydney, and he asked me the same question. So I've had a dress rehearsal for you, Charlie. And that is, we've cut our teeth through some very challenging periods of time in the Arabian-Nubian Shield that Australians in particular have known about as highly prospective for as long as I've been working. And it's only just coming alive. I know there's a lot of hype in Saudi Arabia, but the rest of the Shield is, in some respects, at least as prospective. And in Ethiopia, the outstanding feature of that country is that there are a backlog of development projects, and the country is going to grow enormously in the mining space quicker than any other country in the Arabian-Nubian Shields because it has a backlog of development projects. Now, we happen to be those dogged people who hung in there through thick and thin, and in some respects, we've earned our relationships in the country and the support. We're the only people the government is a joint venture partner with, for example. So I think that what we have to do is go for it. What I mean by that is we have a ready-to-go project, and as we've just been discussing, we're going through the final stages of triggering it. But I think, this is an all-time high gold price. It's only the second time in my working life that the stars have aligned around the particular project I'm focusing on. Most of the stars are outside of the control of management, but when they do align around management, it's critically important that management does go for it. And in that sense, I think it's critically important for all our sakes to justify the patience and the hard work and the money that's been invested to go for it. And so I see Tulu Kapi as a launching pad, not the end result. And I see triggering the underground development quickly is an important thing. I see spreading out through the country and to other gold, mainly areas that are yearning, screaming for work. I think they're critical things for us to do, and I see KEFI being a 500,000 ounce company in the making within 3 or 4 years. 500,000 ounce per annum production and plus $1 billion market cap sort of price or valuation tag warranted by then. So, it doesn't happen very often. I mean, this is a once in a lifetime record gold price, and it's important that we do go for it. And I think the opportunity is there. And I think on that note, it's critically important that we do go for it to earn the results and to earn the rewards that shareholders and other stakeholders have earned over a long period of time.
Your shares trading just over a halfpenny at the moment on the AIM market in London. I think in our last report, we said we thought they could be the best part of 10 pence. Fair, do you think?
Yeah, well, I think that we just updated some numbers, and if you just count Tulu Kapi only, just today's NPV is about 9. And if you say, well, what should it be at the start of production, just by extrapolating the same numbers, you get to just under 11, and that's Tulu Kapi only without, prognosticating what else might be going on by then. So, the numbers that we see ourselves are no different to what you just said, Charlie.
So potential roughly 20 times upside.
That's what makes it worthwhile. We're not doing it for the masochism, we're there to make money.
Excellent, Harry. Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today. That was Harry Anagnostaras-Adams, the Executive Chairman of KEFI Gold and Copper, speaking to me there. As I say, keep an eye out for that 20 times upside. You heard it. I'm not going to say you heard it here first, but you did hear it here. These are the sort of investment opportunities we like to bring to you. We'll be bringing you more such investment opportunities in the very near future. But until then, you have a capital day. Okay, ladies and gentlemen,